Millions of tons of cargo move across the oceans every single day. The global shipping network is a massive, highly optimized machine designed to move products from where they're made to where they're consumed as cheaply as possible. In 1993, this system hit a wall. The United States and Europe locked into a massive, escalating geopolitical conflict that would drag on for nearly 2 decades. This multi-continent diplomatic breakdown was fought entirely over the global trade of bananas. To understand why, look at how goods normally cross borders. Under a system of free trade, countries import and export products without extra friction. When a country that grows plenty of bananas sells them to a country that doesn't, competition increases and the cost for the consumer goes down. But in 1993, the European Union altered the rules of the game. To support the struggling economies of their allies in the Caribbean, Europe offered them a special tax discount on any bananas they exported. The United States imports a massive amount of bananas, and American distributors relied heavily on selling those bananas into European markets. By giving the Caribbean a preferential tax break, Europe effectively made American bananas too expensive to compete. This decades-long global crisis was entirely triggered by the manipulation of a specific economic tool, the tariff. A tariff is essentially a border tax. Think of it like a mandatory service fee applied by a government whenever a foreign product is brought into their country. Most countries use a specific type of tax called an ad valorem tariff. Ad valorem is a Latin phrase meaning according to value, which means the tax isn't a flat fee, but a percentage of the item's total cost. Because it's tied to a percentage, the penalty scales dynamically. If a business imports a more expensive shipment, the border tax swells right along with it. These policies are incredibly bureaucratic and hyper-specific. Depending on the rules written by a government, an unripe banana might face a completely different tariff rate than a ripe one. The immediate domestic fallout hits local operations hard. A small business that relies on importing foreign materials suddenly has to pay significantly more money just to keep their doors open. Local producers might initially benefit from the sudden drop in cheap foreign competition. But without that competition, local prices creep up, product quality can drop, and the everyday shopper is left paying more for worse options. Politicians frequently sell tariffs as a necessary shield to protect local industries. In practice, they function as a hidden tax passed directly out of the consumer's wallet. Returning to 1993, the U.S. was already importing more goods than it was exporting, a situation known as a trade deficit. Facing this deficit, the American government completely refused to accept Europe's new banana rules. Feeling cheated out of fair market access, the United States retaliated, slapping heavy tariffs on unrelated European products. This escalating cycle is known as a trade war. You strike our imports, we strike yours, and eventually, normal commerce gridlocks. If tariffs raise domestic prices, hurt small businesses, and trigger international gridlock, why do governments keep using them? Behind closed doors, state officials deploy them for a variety of political reasons. They insulate favored local industries, use them as diplomatic bargaining tools, or actively damage a rival economy out of pure competitive jealousy. But the most common motive is much simpler. Tariffs generate a massive, immediate stream of raw cash directly to the government. State leaders repeatedly deploy this policy because the short-term political and financial gains they collect almost always outweigh the long-term economic pain they inflict on their citizens. The sheer stubbornness of both the U.S. and the European Union meant that the Great Banana War dragged on for nearly 20 years, paralyzing multiple related industries in the crossfire. Ultimately, an international governing body known as the World Trade Organization stepped in, forcing the EU to lower its tariffs and level the global playing field. The historical battles over physical goods and shipping crates are giving way to a new frontier of global commerce. We are now facing the incoming wave of digital tariffs. Governments around the world are actively attempting to impose taxes on borderless products like ebooks, NFTs, and AI-generated artwork. At the same time, we're seeing the rise of environmental tariffs. Some nations have started taxing imported goods based entirely on the amount of carbon emissions required to manufacture them. Whether a government deploys a tariff to curb emissions, punish a geopolitical rival, or protect a local industry, the ultimate reality remains identical. It is always the everyday consumer who ends up paying the bill.